What are you doing down there? Come on, you want to go for a ride in the van?
I want to cover two things in this video. The second one is going to be we're way overdue for some updates on how the van build's going. But the first one is there's a real danger of these vans actually rolling away. Okay, it's a fairly common problem on many of them that something comes loose. It works its way loose over time, and I think it covers from these are fourth generation Econolines. They started making them in 1992, I believe, and up through 2011. Now, some of them have this issue, some of them don't, but they start getting a problem where they don't want to go and park all the time. Sometimes one symptom is they won't always start when you turn the key, but if you mess with your park, make sure it's in park the whole way, or if you hold up on the park lever, it'll start. That's one symptom that this thing is beginning to come loose. The second symptom is you may put it in park and let your foot off the brake, and if you're like on a hill, you might find out that the vehicle is coasting, and you really have to you really have to hold it up and park firmly the whole way, and you'll feel it catch. So the van has got progressively worse once I bought it. It did roll away. It did start rolling on me one time. Just pulled in the driveway. Fortunately, it's pretty level. It's just a very slight, so I put it in park, and I got out, and it stayed, but I was working on something here right on the back of the van, and I don't know, maybe I was pushing on something, or that was working, and I could swore, I'm like, wait a minute, did the van just move? And it was sitting there stopped, and I thought, wait a minute, let me see if I can push on it, and sure enough, it would roll some. So I hurried up, came up here, and jammed it in park good, and set the parking brake. But yeah, so let's get to what that is here. I have this access panel off. I haven't put it back on yet, but I've already fixed mine. But what you might notice is that this the indicator doesn't seem to be where it's supposed to be. Let's see, hang on here. It might actually be in reverse, here or here. It just doesn't seem to be spot on where it's supposed to be. Same with neutral and drive. Okay, so the shifter itself can seem sloppy, and the gear indicator not being spot on where it's supposed to be. So that's another symptom. And I really thought, this van has a lot of miles on it. It has 228,000, almost 229,000 on it now. Now, I just thought this thing's been around a long time. I thought, there's probably bushings, that lever goes down to a shaft, and the shaft goes down in, and it hooks to another bracket. And I thought, there's probably bushings are worn out, and so I thought, man, someday I'm gonna have to tear this whole thing apart, and I thought, man, it's gonna be a job I'm gonna have to get to one of these days. But it turns out that underneath here is, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, hang on a minute. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you or not. This is really, I did see a video on this, and one guy did manage to get his camera or phone up in here in a way that you could actually see it. And I've tried, and I just can't get the shot. But I'm going to tell you what it is. There's a bracket up in here. And I have verified there's cobwebs and stuff under here. I have verified the only tool needed, there's no parts required. There's a bracket down on the end of that. It's on the top side of this column, the steering column. there's a bracket up there, and there's 2 bolts that hold that on. Well, those bolts come work their way loose, and that bracket actually holds the cable that goes down to the transmission. And all that happens is that bracket comes works its way loose. So all that's needed is a 3/8 drive ratchet, a 9 or 12-inch extension, and a T30 Torx bit. Okay, and you know, you got to reach up in there and, you know, have your head stuck down in here and a light and trying to see, you know, it's it's probably easier said than done, that's for sure. But I tightened that up, and yeah, I YouTubed it. I never thought to, oh, maybe I should look at a YouTube video. I did find a video that some guy did manage, like I say, he did manage to get his camera up in there, and still you could only see like one of the bolts. So you really have to get up in there and fish around and with a light and stuff. But yeah, it's hard to get your head down there and a camera, but that guy managed it. But so now what happens was, so now, yeah, the other symptom was, you know, it wouldn't start in park. I had to turn the key on, put it in neutral, and then it would start. But once I tightened that up, I came up and this shifter felt completely different. You know, it went click, click, click like it's supposed to. It wasn't just all over the place. But hang on a minute. That's better. So, and voila, yeah, it went in park. It engages, you know. It got so bad that I had to hold up on the shifter like really hard, and then kind of let it coast to make sure it caught and engaged. And then once it did engage, I mean, it'd never pop out. But, you know, I couldn't just come to a stop. I couldn't just come to a stop, put it in park, and, you know, I had to really hold it. So anyway, like I say, when I came back up, it all felt like, you know, much better. And now it will start in park. So that's kind of nice. Yeah, I've always had to put it in neutral to start it. So all that is fixed. Okay, some other updates. Okay, the part 2 of this is some of the things I've done to the van. I've probably done a good bit since I've showed you last. Let me get my step stool out, because we're going to start. This is not going to be a step-by-step how-to guide. I'm not going to show you exactly what I did. We're going to just kind of do an overview. You know, projects like this, I can show you step by step exactly what I did, but I think everybody's situation is a little bit different. How much, what's coming? The plane. Oh, and we are right here by the Allegheny River. We're in Clinton, just above Clinton, and Allegheny Lock and Dam number 6 is just down the river here. There's some people camping and fishing up there. I was hoping to kind of get that spot. There's only like 2 good spots up there, and they're both occupied, so we're leaving. I just stopped here on our way out. But anyway, what did I do here? I had those original brackets, the ladder racks that went up at an angle, and then angled back down the other side, and that just wasn't, you know, I had to, that wasn't going to work with the solar panels. So I got this 1.5 inch, it's 1/8 inch thick, 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch steel angle iron. And I still have some touch-up work to do. I have a little bit more work to do on it here in the back, because I want to put a like a cargo thing up top here. But once I got the framing all kind of welded in, yeah, I put a piece on each end, this side and that side, I mean, and then end pieces, and a piece in the middle for the solar to sit on. Once I got that all welded up, then I got to cut off my angle grinder and a cutoff wheel, and I cut those centers I cut the centers out, and then I was able to put the, hang on a second. Okay, this is actually lifting a little bit. I'm gonna have to go around and put a second coat on this. You can see, you know, I don't like wires dangling, so that's pretty minimal. There's one drooping a little bit back there, but then they're all zip tied and come into this entrance, this weather entrance. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go around and round two, put a coating on, another coating of that sealer on there. But I took 4 of these Renogy. Those are actually 4 Renogy 100 watt panels all bolted together. And because I had limited space up here, I wanted to squeeze between the fan and the getting pretty close to the front of the van here. If I would have used the regular brackets that come with it, I would have had to leave a space in between each one, and then they would have just hung off the front. You know, I wouldn't have been able to really fit 4 panels on it. So I chose to bolt them. Just butt them up against each other, and then underneath I did this upside down in the garage, and bolted them all together just to make it one big panel. And they too are on more angle iron, which comes down and is welded to the cross piece and so on. So that's kind of what I did with that. I got a little bit more work to do on it, and some more painting. And I put a little air spoiler thing on the front there to kind of divert the wind. So what's going on inside the van is, I'll show you this where the solar comes in at and how I have that arranged here in a minute. But I'm going to tell you right now, because I want to get something out of the way, is something I upgraded. Hang on, I'm going to grab it. It's over here by Bella. Is this crazy thing. These pumps that go on the you know, in these 5-gallon water jugs are, you know, they just don't work very good. They don't actually pump the water out. They push water into the jug, which then the pressure pushes it out. Well, if it doesn't have a good seal, and these don't, you know, it's kind of a flimsy setup. You can see it's actually crooked and cockeyed. Sometimes it's hard to get a good seal on the jug, so you pump it and the air's leaking, and they're big and bulky too. And you can see, you know, on the jug, it wouldn't fit underneath this thing I built. So I'm glad to get rid of it. I upgraded to a rechargeable one. Hang on a second here. Let me do this here real quick. Okay. Because I could use a cup of coffee. Oh, and check out this coffee mug. Okay, some of you remember Baxter? There's a picture of Baxter on one side, and there's Bella on the other. Crazy Bella. So, anyway, that's my coffee mug. But yeah, this is rechargeable, and just push the button. You know, and it's much smaller. It actually fits underneath here instead of, careful. Okay, that's enough. Yeah, that's so much better than the water jug. I used to keep it out here, and then Bella really had, it was a tight fit. Bella had to squeeze in and out of there to get up front. But so it's nice to be done away with that hand pump and have something that fits in here. So other than that, get out of the light here. So I built this thing, and I used those white shells over here. I actually had to cut the top off and shorten it so it would fit, and what's left is up there. And my little stove, and what else? Got some shells over here for some odds and ends, little baskets and stuff. I don't know what's going in that top one just yet. There's a little basket in there. I don't have nothing in it. And I have some other baskets I bought. They're pretty cheap. Kind of an assortment of some different sizes, and they'll get used somewhere or another, because I do want to build some kind of shelf up here, and it'll have something to keep things from sliding off of it. So some of them baskets might work out up there, or over here on the back wall. So I got some of that work to do yet too. The so yeah, just have some canned goods and a travel mug under there, and coffee, and some plates, and a bowl, and I don't know what's under there. And that's what's in there. Some utensils in there. This is all going to be a work in progress. It'll come along. It'll evolve as things go along. But then I put this curtain rod, and hang on, one side actually goes to. I don't have my coffee pot down here, so this will actually, you know, half will go that way and half will go this way, halfway and halfway. But yeah, I found those at Walmart for a couple of bucks. So there's that. I guess that's all you need to see about that. And my coffee thing down here, I say, it might end up here at some point. And I just have this basket, yeah, another cheap Walmart item. Basket. I don't know what's on the bottom, a little rubber feet or something, but you know, it traveling, it just never seems to move. And what else? Oh, I bought a. Okay, I have two cell phones. This one here is my my internet phone. So I bought it's a flexible arm thing up here. You can put it wherever you want. But I was tired of it just laying somewhere that it could slide, you know, and fall. So I got a mount for it. And if I do get a call or something while I'm working, look, there's Bella. You know, I could just answer it and put it on speakerphone or whatever. And I'm sitting here working, I can talk to. That's kind of my work number, phone and internet. So some odds and ends. I found that flexible cell phone thing. Yeah, I can just search that on Google or Amazon or whatever, but a bunch of them pop up. All right, hang on here. Let's see. Okay, I did move a couple things out of the way here, a couple of them baskets and stuff. And I wanted to, oops, a couple of drips there. Because I want to be able to show you how I mounted some stuff back here without actually pulling everything out. It's, we'll see how this goes here. I need another coffee this morning. So I'm just gonna do this real quick here. Put a coffee thing in there. And where's my cup? There we go. Alright. I'm gonna let that do its thing here a minute. I'm gonna move a couple other thing or two here. So while that's happening too, I probably showed you this beanbag chair I bought for in here. This thing's been great, and it's really lightweight. You know, a lot of times I'll just come and sit on the floor and be happy with that for a while. But maybe, you know, to watch TV or something. Yeah, sometimes I'll just sit on the floor for a while, lean back against the bed, or I can throw this beanbag in here. And what I really like about it is, you know, you can kind of, if I kind of put it back and sit in it, you know, it's real comfortable, and I can put my feet up on the cooler, and that's comfortable. Or actually, if I'm going to work at a, you know, over at the desk thing, if I set it up straight, if I sit it up straighter and then sit on it, then just the way that the stuff is in it, it's actually comfortable sitting upright too, and has some back support. So I mean, it actually works out pretty good. And the other thing is, it's so lightweight that, yeah, out of the way, I can just grab it and bang, give it a toss, throw it up on the bed, out of the way. So this has really been great for in here. I really like that. Over here I did put a carbon monoxide detector we have in here, so it's all up and working. I have hanging here my my backpack for hiking if we go too far. I'll take a pack. Oh, girl. Okay. Oh yeah, and I also put these. You might have already seen these too. I put the these curtains in here. And you know what? Something that's really come in handy is bungee cords. So, you know, I can just hook them to the van, and yeah, that's worked out pretty good. All right, let me get over here and we'll check this out. I'll give you the short story on this, because there's just a kabillion videos on solar installs on here. But here, what I did just quickly here, and I tend to buy, you know what, I'm not a solar guru, so, you know, I make my life easy, and I buy these kits. You know, I buy a kit. off of Runaway. So everything, I know everything goes together. I know everything's compatible. This particular kit came with 4 panels, the 40 amp charge controller, and all the wires needed to hook all the panels together, run them down to the charge controller, and it also came with the wires that go to the battery. So everything you need comes in a kit. It's all meant to work with each other. It just makes life simpler for me, instead of mixing and matching, getting maybe some solar panels on sale from one place and a good deal on the charge controller somewhere else, and then having to get the cables, rounding it all up. It comes as a kit. It's easy for me anyway. So over here, what I did add was, this is a 40 amp 40 amp charge controller, 40 amp MPPT charge controller, 40 amp. So I did put a 40 amp breaker in here. It comes down here and to the input here. Now, it says repeatedly in the manual for this not to hook the solar panels up to this until you've hooked, till that power has somewhere to go. In other words, hook it to the battery first. So yeah, don't hook that up until this is hooked up first. So yeah, it could damage it. So what I did was, in the event that I have to do something to the battery, maybe I want to move it, maybe I want to unhook something and hook something else or add to it or whatever. If I ever want to disconnect this, well, I also need to be able to have a cutoff switch. So I can disconnect it. If I just trip that breaker, then all of a sudden, how much power do I have coming in? Where is it? See, there's 0 coming in right now. So, and it's early and it's cloudy. So if I turn that back on, it'll take a couple of seconds for it to see that, but it better. Wait, is it broke? All right, we'll come back to that. All right, there it goes. It's just measuring in amps. Not a whole lot this morning. Not a whole lot at all. Anyway, yeah, not only is it early, and who knows, the sun's not up very high, and it's very overcast today, and we're in the shade. So, that'll come around later on when we get out of here. So, okay, so I have these that go down to the battery, and I did graduate to, I'm going to say I graduated to, I'm now sold on lithium batteries. And, the 2 big names are Battleborn and I think Dakota batteries. And I think they're like $800 or $899. These Ampertime, the Ampertime LifePo 4 100 amp hour batteries are only $499. So that's almost cut in half. And for that, they have twice the available power, and they have twice the lifespan. So to me, it's a wash. The lead acid batteries that I were using, the equivalent in a deep cycle battery, lead acid, is only like 129 or 139. So if I get twice the power, that's like 2 of them, and twice the life, that's double again, that's like 4. You do the math, it's actually cheaper to buy one of these than it is 4 lead acid batteries. Okay, so I'm sold that dollar for dollar, these are actually cheaper. How's that? All right, now this is the part I'm not gonna pull the battery out. I'm not gonna show you the hookups. Just know that coming down from the charge controller up here, that those 2 wires coming out go to the battery, and then I have the 2 battery. Then there's 2 leads that go from the battery over to this 1000-watt inverter, and that there it is. And so the 1000-watt inverter, also from Runaway, there's only one plug-in. And that plug-in goes, that turns the 12-volt into 110. So then I have that go over here to this power strip over here. So, and that has the TVs plugged into it and the coffee pot, and then there's an extension. There's a an extension cord that, you know, goes back and over here for my laptop and printer and anything I might need. So that's the 110 side of it. And the other thing I've done is I want to do this kind of in a safe manner. I think I did this pretty good here. The other hookup I made was that red wire there. That's the one more lead that comes off of the battery. That's actually 10 gauge wire. It's rated for 30 amp. Okay, it goes to another breaker, to a 30 amp breaker, and that continues up above here. Okay, that goes to that fuse box. So, and then I have 2 leads running. Let me do this a little bit differently here. Just a minute. I'm kind of fumbling because I'm in a tight spot, but I just don't want to pull all this stuff out of here. So, yeah, up here, so this comes from the battery and the 30 amp breaker up here to power this fuse box, and I can run up to 6 circuits on it. So this box is rated at 30 amp, so we have a 30 amp breaker, we have 10 gauge wire, it's all rated at 30 amp, so one of them goes to the ceiling fan, or the roof vent fan. The other one goes to this other 12 volt thing, has a USB charger and a plug that runs the cooler. So those are the only 2 circuits I have on it now. Obviously there's room to add more circuits on if I want to add more 12 volt stuff. But so that's all fused at 10 amp. And I think the fan only uses like 5. And but the wire is rated higher than that. Anyway, same thing here for the negative side. Yeah, that's the positive side. Negative side, I put it's called like a bus bar, where another 30 amp negative comes up to this, and then I have the negative to the fan and the negative to the cooler. That's kind of the rundown on what I did there. And all this hardware and stuff is easy to find on Amazon. It's just cheaper to, by the time you buy a pack of 2 or 3 at the auto parts store or Home Depot or somewhere, these things add up really quick. I actually bought an assortment for $9.99, and as many of these as I've used in here, and in projects in the bounder, and I still have a bunch left over. You know, it's yeah, everything mounted and secured. And these 2 here were really nice. These are the wires that go up to the TV, and these little things are adhesive. They're called adhesive cable mounts. So you can just stick them every so often where you want them, and lay the cable on it, and put a zip tie around it, and then snip the zip tie off. So that makes for running things a little neater. So yeah, I don't like wires dangling and can get caught on stuff. Who knows, maybe I'm putting something away or getting something out, and you know what, when wires get to dangling and all tangled up and you get a big rat's nest, I call it, that's a pain. And another adhesive thing there, that's for the Bluetooth thing. There's an app on the phone that I can, you know, see what this thing's doing on my phone. It is so nice to have this fan working. Finally have it wired up and working, and it is so much quieter than the fan and the bounder. So I do have more of them bungee cords for this front one too. You know, here's a little one here. So, you know, daytime I usually have these. Whoops. I usually have these connected here. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I swear. Sometimes you gotta fight with them. And then this other one, I can actually put both of these, this one and this one, in here. And that's that. That's it, we're out of here. And this is another one of them places too, the bounder would have never made it. It's a little bit more treacherous up here, and some low-hanging branches. So we're gonna be out of here, and that's that. Thanks for checking us out today. We'll see you next time.